All right, so Shane here, everybody, Daily Astrocat, and I want to talk to you about this week. We're going to talk about this week because it's going to be special, and this is what I look like in the daylight. Just wanted to bring that into you. This is about astrology, however. It's not about me exploring as a child or anything. So what I really want to talk to you about is I want to talk to you about this week. It's the week of August 31st till September 6th. And what we're really looking at here is we are looking at shift getting real, okay? There's a shift that's happening, and that's just a little play on words. I got some shift on my face right here too, but I digress. What I really want to talk about is what's going on this week, and what's happening this week is that the seasonal preview that I did before, I thought that would be pretty sufficient, right? I mean, I don't want to talk about months, even though it's the first of the month. Rabbit, blow cynic, whatever you do to celebrate the first of the month, right? Whatever you happen to do, that's fine. I'm not a big calendar month person, though. I'm more of a cycles within cycles person. Okay, so with that being said, this week is the build-up to the full moon in Pisces. We focus on health and hydration early in the week. Yes, hydration, right there. And we are preparing to take off. The cover features a picture from the Hubble Space Telescope, courtesy of NASA. It's called the Magic Carpet or Pillow Nebula. It is visible with a standard telescope in the constellation of Cygnus the Swan. Any little app out there will tell you what it is doing, right? This nebula is believed to have been formed about 600 years ago. It's so appropriate for this week as all of the good things that we are working in our favor are going to be riding on that carpet. Magically, right? Yes, magically. So we've got the moon going from half to waxing gibbous. The full moon's actually going to occur on Sunday this week. Hard work and innovation and imagination are all possible with the moon in this period. We're focused on growing into the new roles we may have assumed or taken our work and careers to a new level. That will be very surprising and very fruitful. Those who are born in these phases know how to wait patiently with an eye towards nurturance. Yeah, you half-moon folks, right? And, waxing gibbous. That's going to be very good. Now, Saturday, we already did, right? I got to tell you something. I introduced a crazy idea, a purely intuitive idea I had, and it began with a picture of me back in March and a container of water, okay? Now, here's exactly what I said. Place a picture of yourself back in from the Pisces season, right? And so could be March, could be late February, under or behind a container of water, and ask it to remember your intentions. The picture's going to remember your intentions because it captured your face at that time, right? So, and then modify those intentions for now. So now I want to take those intentions and modify them for what I'm doing right now. Now, I don't know if it'll work or not. This is what I said on Sunday, but I'm going to try it tomorrow, and hopefully there'll be like a little shortcut because water has a memory. The picture is going to have a memory attached to it, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to put all that together. If you try it, let me know. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to make it like moon water, or a type of thing, or just place a picture under it. I wasn't quite sure. It only takes a couple seconds for it to actually capture that image, however, so you can do it multiple times. Okay, so let's talk about this. There's my water bottle. Look at that. I had a little nice clear wine bottle with a glass topper on it. It looks almost like an apothecary jar. I love it, okay? Now, here we go. Imagine it's 4:23 in the morning, and I wake up, and it's dark out, right? And I decide to make Shane water. Okay, didn't have a name, but I just decided to call it Shane water at the time. I was just like, I'm going to make Shane water, like moon water, only with my picture. So first I need a picture. So I go searching pictures out on my phone. I find one from March 5th. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe it's the 6th. I'm not sure. But the printer's out of ink. Now, I don't know, but I'm very, very nearsighted. And I figure, well, let me see if I can I can't figure it out because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see the little pictures telling me how to change the ink cartridge in the darn printer. So I go upstairs and get my glasses. Now the ink's okay. Now I need a container. Now, for moon water, I tend to use these big 1-gallon jars. They're kind of cool, right? little top on them. They seal. Don't like the bugs or anything like that. I just want to capture the light and the intention. So I go out on the back porch, and here I find this wine bottle. Oh, yes. It was actually gifted to my wife from my ex-wife for her birthday. I'll say that slower. It was gifted to my wife from my ex-wife for my wife's birthday. Yes. So, and it was a very good bottle of wine. It was delicious. So, it was a very good purchase. It was a good choice. She just happened to see it, and because my grandson calls my wife Nini, and the wine's name was Mimi, and she thought it was close to Nini, so that's why she picked it out. Serendipity, right? It's never serendipitous. It happens for a reason. So that top on it is ultra cool too. So I find the clear wine bottle, print the picture, fill the bottle. Choose an east-facing window to grab the first light, because this is my intention, right? I'm just like, okay. So basically, the way you see it in the picture, I actually had it reversed. So the picture was facing outward, and the light was coming through and hitting the picture behind the water. All right, so that's what I did for my experiment. Now, I got some early results for you, okay? And actually, it gets even deeper than that. We went out and tried donuts from a new place. Intuition, walking through the door, said no. There were more red flags here than on a Chinese runway greeting the Prime Minister of India, okay? Always listen to your intuition. After coming home, we sampled the donuts, which were expensive as you know what, and we were decidedly disappointed. Would today fly by after such events? Usually what happens is if I go out in the morning, then we get home and we start going through the day. We just get lost. It becomes, we did the one thing, right? We did the one thing, and it's like, okay, now we're just going to spend some time. Don't know if I'm going to go see the grandchildren or anything like that. So it's like, what are we going to do? So I'm like, let me try the water. Because first of all, the donuts had me feeling like, meh. And then I made regular breakfast to go with on top of it. And after I got all the regular breakfast stuff done, I decided that it was time to try the water. Okay. I poured a glass and I took a sip of it, right? I actually have some right here. This right here. Okay. So I took a sip and let it settle in my stomach. It's my water, right? It began to feel like caffeine. I was just starting to feel like charged. I'm like, okay, maybe the hydration is making the caffeine I consumed more available. And then goosebumps started and the hair on my arm started standing up. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I have an overwhelming urge to document not only this experience, but highlight some interesting astrology for the week ahead. That's this report, right? I dove right into it. I just went crazy. I was just like, okay, well, let's just get this done. I just turned around, didn't say a word, and I just started putting all this stuff together, the slides, everything. Now, it operated like an elixir of action. It was like, whoa. I was just like, I feel like myself. I'm focused in the zone. So I shared it with Carrie, my wife, and she immediately went to sleep. Okay. I'm just like, okay, so apparently this just works for me, right? She wakes up and she's like, okay. And I go, hey, what are you doing? You're printing a recipe? Because I hear the printer going off behind me, right? And she says, sort of. And then I turn around and she's got a smile, right? And she goes, I just had the strangest dreams. She said, I was dreaming of out-of-body experiences. Like, I felt like I fell into my body when I woke up. And I was like, okay, well, that happens to me all the time. She says, yeah, I think it's your water. And I go, well, okay. So now she comes for the printer, and she's got a picture of her own. Okay. She's like, I'm going to make my own water. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. So she printed a picture out from her in 2019 that she really likes and that she'd like to recall because, just because of the events and stuff like that of the time and, what she was doing health-wise and nutrition-wise and everything. And she started repeating my process. She took her intention from the picture and started putting new intentions on it, and we turned it into a personal elixirs of action. Now, with that being said, I just want to go back to that bottle because there's the bottle right there, and there's the image. She did her own image, put it in the same spot, and her water worked fantastically. What we ended up doing after that point was we ended up addressing something that we've been dreading for a while, and we didn't realize how hot it was out, and it really, really was difficult. So but we made it through it, and she was just like, yeah, she wants to kick more ass. That's what she said. She wants to kick ass. She wants to do the things that she was doing before. She was doing a lot of walking. She was getting a lot of time in walking, and that was a good thing. So, it helped with weight loss for both of us. So she actually, I went to bed last night. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm making more water for tomorrow for when I go to work. I said, what? You're making carry water? She's like, yeah, I'm making my personal water. She calls it the personal water because that's what I decided that it pretty much should be called, is just personal water of intention. Okay. So, elixirs of action. Okay. So what's behind this astrology here today? We have Saturn. This is the first. This is today. Okay. We have Saturn entering Pisces. This is going to be very, very curious. Okay, we talk about water, talk about Saturn being in the same sign as this now, talk about like a standardization or, maybe hey, we're smashing through some limitations. We're making some shortcuts here. We're figuring out how to hack things, right? We know, you may not know, but water does have memory. I had that experiment that I did. It wasn't even an experiment. I just happened to put water out in February one year, last year, and I put crystals on top of it because that's what I do sometimes. And the water froze slightly. It began the freezing process. It didn't freeze solid, but as it started to freeze, it started freezing in patterns of the gems that were on top of it on the top. And it was on an opaque lid. So that struck me as really, really interesting, right? Now, you can see on this chart right here, I'm going to go to this chart, where Saturn is still conjunct Neptune, but has just backed into Pisces. So we have Saturn at 29 degrees, 59 minutes, 59 seconds on this chart. So it's right before it backs in. It's at 4:07 in the morning. What happens is that we have the North Node here. Now, if you look, you can see the talent triangle between Uranus, Pluto, and Saturn. This shifts it a little bit, right? We get out of that beginning I am phase and more into looking at what was past, what was happening. There's some institutional stuff there. There's religious stuff there. There's patriarchal stuff there. And that's why we've got a great focus on the divine feminine for this week. And I'm going to go into that in a separate video. But what you can see right here where the North Node is, this is where that divine feminine starts to creep in because we have Black Moon Lilith in a grand trine with Jupiter and the North Node. Now, the North Node is your karmic intention, and that's important for us, right? That's where we want to be heading. That's what we're heading towards. Implied in all this at the opposite end is the South Node. That's what we're giving up. That's what we're shedding away. You've heard me say a lot about getting rid of our excess baggage. Well, the reason for that is because that South Node would be exactly opposite, and that would be in node 18 degrees. So it would be 18 degrees of Libra where that node is at, and the eclipse is going to happen right at 15 degrees Libra. So very, very close. Now remember, for eclipses to happen, it doesn't have to be on the node. It can be either within 10 to 12 degrees of that node for the eclipse to actually happen. It just depends upon what kind of eclipse we're going to have, I believe is the proximity to it. Now, the moon is in Sagittarius. You can see that she's shifting around. So we've got that moon there. She had just passed over this point where Black Moon Lilith was at. And there's a whole bunch of asteroids in here that I'm not going to get into right now, but I will get into later. And we will talk about that. But we can see how that what we're doing and what we're working on, big community things and our own personal energies that are involving technology and stuff like that we're able to translate into art or however we want to define our creativity, because we got Neptune in there. Yeah, everything's retrograde, moving back. So those are all going to just reset a little bit, except with the exception of Pluto. Pluto will not go into Capricorn, okay? And we are just kind of like dialing that back. We're going to look at what it is that we're doing, see how we're putting it out. We have from now until about January of next year to really reset and figure this stuff out. Now, on a 3D level, what's happening is we're actually using this information to help us inform ourselves about work things. So there's a real ability to learn in here, because this is very intellectual, because we have the air signs right there, and we have the fire sign. So the fire sign, Mars, is very reactive and brilliant, right? And it's a sign of intelligence. You have to be intelligent to be able to react and to do things properly. So now we have Uranus and really. Oh, my goodness. Ziggy has the hiccups, and it's driving me crazy. I didn't know what was happening. All right, so all the planets in the blue triangle are going to be backtracking, and Saturn's going to be the first to do so. Look, the personal water experiment, the elixirs of action that arose from embracing the innate occult wisdom, crossing the gateway where the fire meets water, and the strange connection that links Virgo with Pisces and Scorpio are all at play here. Saturn retrogrades free you from your mental limitations, but urge you to stay in your own lane. Do the work. Okay, that's what you have to do. You have to do the work. The shortcut here enables us to do more in less time. And this is perfect. Think about it. My personal water experience, the elixir of action, allows us to just get rid of some of the baggage that may be there, and it just makes it very simple. And when you try it, see what it does for you, see if it does anything. You might be like, Shane, you're out of your mind. You're woo, okay? You're too woo-woo. And I don't think it is. The water definitely has a place, a memory, and it has a way of storing intentions. We're 98% water. We're hydrating ourselves with our intentions. I think it's perfect. It's a great little hack. Now, ask yourself, aside from this, ask yourself, have you forgotten something? What are you maybe forgetting? What is it that's something you can get back to? Maybe that picture will help you get back to it. Maybe that water will help you get back to it. We're drifting back to when Saturn was here last. What was left behind, patriarchal values and religion, need to be reviewed and reevaluated. I actually say this on the broadcast. The good that's discovered in this process needs to be reunited with the divine female energy. There is a loving balance that must be restored to fully heal this world. Are you on board? And that's where today's AstroCat came from. Now, if we could move ahead to the 9th, to the 2nd rather, now we have our second planetary ingress. That's the fancy word that astrologers use when a planet changes signs and enters a sign. It's called an ingress. And in this case, the ingress is Mercury. We can see on this chart here where Mercury is just entering Virgo. Ta-da! Okay, so Mercury in Leo was kind of like still foggy from the retrograde period, because it did have the retrograde in Leo. Went from 5 to about, 7 to 15 degrees, and backtracked in Leo a couple times. That can delude, that can make us, believe in our own BS just a little bit, and the BS side of it, not the real actual thing, but or it can make us susceptible to others' BS. And there was a lot of BSing going on in the last couple of months, and that's because Mercury went retrograde. July. Yeah, July. And now here we are almost in September for Mercury to get out. Okay? That's an unusual amount of time for Mercury to spend in one sign, and that's because of the retrograde, basically, honestly. Now, you can see that right now that where Mercury is at that yod point. You can see the blue lines right here. That's that finger of God. That's that fate. That's where Mars was at. That's where the sun was at. And we were like, bam, there's some action here that's happening. There's something here that we are involved in. This point here brings us something, right? I think it's this realization. I think it's the water realization. I think for me personally, I think it's just the point of this production of these couple of pieces that I'm going to be putting out there today, and just to be going for it, right? What's your aha moment? What's your takeaway? What's your big breakthrough that's happening? Perhaps today even. So think about that. You remember, it's about a couple days either side, right? Yeah. So Mercury enters Virgo. All right. And you can still see that triangle right there, that big, beautiful grand trine with Jupiter, Black Moon Lilith, and the node. So we have all that energy coming into this, and you can see where Mercury is also trine with Chiron. So there's some implications there as well. So the way I see this is that trusting your faculties on September 3rd is just going to get way easier because Mercury moves into Virgo at 9:23. Everything you will need to know is going to start falling into place. And this is where the real work can begin. Now that the fog of Mercury retrograde fully lifts, we expressed that a little bit, school begins, and we're able to see, sense, discern everything as it is intended. All of the characters in the Greek myths, Mercury could pass freely between the underworld and return. Aha. So does Persephone, right? Mercury rules the harvest season through Virgo, the rulership of Virgo. You already know that Ceres, the planet, the asteroid, is Demeter. Demeter had enlisted Mercury's help to get her daughter back. Right, I want my daughter back. Pomegranates indeed. Now, all this makes for a lovely tale, and quite honestly, it works for me intuitively. Then again, my Mercury is in Pisces, so my mind naturally makes this connection through Scorpio back to Virgo. The ruler of my chart is Mercury in Pisces. Aha. Tell me you're weird without telling me you're weird. Okay, I may have just done that. So our moon's going to enter Capricorn, and it's going to give us a chance to focus because it's going to have a focus from it from 12:19 in the morning, just about to where we're at. So we've got some good focus here. We can see where the moon is at approaching Pluto. I don't think it gives it up until the moon actually leaves Capricorn. So, it's a good time to focus. It's a good time to really just get our stuff together. Let's take a look here. And you can see the chart doesn't change that much, although we do have the cradle reappear, okay? And no, it's not a cradle, because there's two sextiles right there, two sextiles right there. Those sextiles are just telling you where future points are at. So, like, say, Black Moon Lilith will move, and the moon is at a point right here, but there would be some point in the future where planets that will be in this position with Black Moon Lilith will be pointing us towards either technology or family. Same thing with here. This one right here just happens to point towards Scorpio, right? It's a 0-degree Scorpio. That's where Haumea is sitting. That's new ground. That is that asteroid Hawaiian goddess of creation. Okay, so jumping all around here, right? On Wednesday, the moon focused in Capricorn at 8:50 until midnight. Okay, so there you go. Personally, I'm very much going to be focused on the side hustle stuff, doing this stuff here. I think I even want to go live, okay? I do think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that on TikTok. Now, this makes things right here. What are you going to focus on? Okay. Look, I don't know what I'm going to do with the multitasking, and honestly, I don't care. Look, if I go live and I have a train wreck, they're just as entertaining as a put-together show. maybe even a little bit more focused. So don't let Wednesday pass you by. If you need to network, network. If you need to focus on tasks that you may be behind on, focus on them, okay? All right, so now we have our kites. So we're talking about kites here, kites of destiny. I don't know. You know what? I think I want to go back here. Okay. Now, look, I put this out on the last big one that I did, and this bears repeating. These kites have been everywhere over the last couple of months, and those kites are the things that takes all those signs up with an apex and a base. It has a basic structure there, a tension that resolves with the whole kite thing, right? Opposites attract, but in a kite, they're the main source of tension. The surrounding structure is harmonious, and the base is the force that stabilizes the structure and allows the apex to ascend. So what may seem like it may be at odds with whatever we're doing actually isn't, right? It's actually stabilizing us to help us go up. You know, say like that Aries, Libra axis, right? The togetherness, the contract, the partnership, whatever you have in Libra can actually stabilize that to allow that kite to ascend with Neptune and Saturn at the apex. So we actually bring our art, bring our structures, bring our limit, bring whatever it is that we're facing, we can creatively apply it to the obstacles that are in front of us and be able to take our game even higher. That's an important point. Now, the apex, yep, that's what we do. Everything works together in harmony, basically. Mars square Jupiter is an energy that works and will energize this kite that brings some wild, divine female energy sharply into focus. We're talking about a kite with Lilith, right? The renewal of your purpose has been undergoing a change over the last few days, and that perfects tonight, right? It's a renewal of what it is that you're doing. It's what we need to do. It's how we need to put ourselves out there and how we need to actually position ourselves in the world. Now, this is going to activate a competitive drive for success and recognition that will strengthen our overall position. It also energizes the North Node for the eclipse, along with the Black Moon, Lilith, Sun, and Jupiter. This is the hate-love relationship forming. Mars is shaking up the kite, and Lilith may resent the intrusion. But just remember that her attitude is dependent upon yours, okay? Like it or not, we all need Mars energy. Now, let's look at the chart. Okay, so here you can see Mars and Saturn in that square. This can be creative. This can be creative in a big way. This is something that we need to do and co-create together. Believe it or not, I actually had my wife proofread my next segment because I was speaking about the divine feminine, and I didn't want to screw it up. I was just like, you know what, can you look at this for me? Because I want to just make sure that I'm not off base here, being a guy. And she was just like, no, it's fine. You sum it up very well, and I appreciate that. And thank you so much for that. But yeah, you can see where the kite is here. And the apex is actually with the sun, almost arrived at that eclipse point, right? This kite is going to be in effect for that eclipse. Okay? Now, whether Mars is involved in it or not, I don't know. But Mars is going to be coming along and actually activating all these planets here. So, you know, the kind of image that I'm having for Lilith with Mars affecting the kite and Lilith being like, oh, you know, Mel, you know, I want the details. I want all the things to go right. I want the alchemist to put the stuff together and to make it happen in Pisces, because that North Node is where I want to go. And, you know, my North Star is a better understanding of what my divinity is and my spirituality is. However, we're going to be coming along, we're going to be shaking it up a little bit, okay? And it's going to be very interesting because it gives us a chance to be able to put those two things together, that divine masculine that Mars represents, or can represent, and Lilith. Now, I do have a candle burning over there as a candle that came for Carrie from Inanna, and I'll go into that in the next video. Now, those kites, right? Now, let's talk about Uranus retrograde. Uranus retrograde begins. Okay, now when Uranus goes retrograde, it's actually going to be, I believe, on Sunday or Saturday rather. So Saturday, Uranus is going to go retrograde, and we're going to watch the markets. Okay, we're going to watch that stuff. We're going to watch these things. Okay. A week before, a week after, right? Crypto tends to grow when Uranus is retrograde. When Uranus returns to Taurus, that's where you can expect more regulatory hijinks, okay, as far as finances are concerned. Uranus is the closest point of the Earth today, on the Saturday, as it's 12:51 a.m. is when Uranus goes retrograde. Intense Uranian energy can show up as either earthquakes, air travel events, things like that, right? Either way, try and predict these things. Kind of folly. As a matter of fact, it's Monday. We are 5 days out from that, and there was a big earthquake in Afghanistan. So, I believe the Earth is just seismically active right now, but these events are lining up with Uranus being various points of Uranus making aspects to different planetary configurations. It just works out that way. Now, I think, either way, markets are very much affected by these Uranus retrogrades as well. And, that was retrograde in Taurus. The markets were going crazy, right? It was like, oh my goodness, crypto, you get a surge, and it would die down when Uranus was direct, and then you would see it like surging it. And then it kind of stopped doing that, and it just kind of stayed flat. And I think that's when the big money started coming into it, and there was just market manipulations and shenanigans going on. Before, when it was open, it tended to behave more like a free market. Now it does not tend to do that, and that's up to conjecture. Now, I think that Apple, the company, needs to consult astrologers before announcing new products. That's right. They're going to announce iPhone 17 with Uranus retrograde. I don't know. It looks like it might be a little dicey there, right? Now, I could make myself definitely available for the right price. Just throwing it out there, right? Now, we're not going to like it if we force any kind of change today. Particularly on Saturday. Change for the sake of change will be met with indifference. React quickly to any changes or opportunities that could bring you more money, like Apple looking to hire an astrologer. Maybe. Okay. Now, for those of you who like to live the lunar life of crescendo builds and we're left to wonder what is next, well, it's a solar eclipse, of course. This is going to be a profound opportunity for us to fully emerge unencumbered. That's right. Leave your baggage at the door. The dogmas that brought us here, that's part of that baggage. That's what has to be left at the door. This is our chance to claim our own sovereignty and to co-create our personal destiny. Nothing is free, however. You still have to do the work. Just find ways to do so with maximum efficiency. Like, try a cheat hack, try a hack, right? It just might work for you. You never know. Okay. So please take the time to like this video. That's right. Share it. Do the things. Save it for later. It's a long video. It's 33 minutes. Take it in small doses. Remember, we do have the podcast, so it's available wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, unfortunately, Spotify, Pocket Casts, everywhere. It's listed everywhere. Wherever you can get a podcast at, it's on it. Okay. Subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you're listening to it. It is a good chance. I like listening to these things in the car. I really do. When I'm going about my day, I might even listen one or two times, depending on what I'm saying and what I did. I even wrote the stuff, right? Go figure. It's also on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, please look us up there. Add to the subscriber base there. I appreciate you guys. You've been doing a fantastic job everywhere. I really appreciate all the love that I've been getting. Happy 1st of September. Click to receive the notifications if you want to. And happy Astro-catting. Thank you so much.